So today's zero tolerance knife, it is one that I've actually been hunting for quite a while, and it was very difficult to find one new in the box. But you know what? I am really glad that I persisted. You know what? Let's quit talking. I just want to show it to you. Hey, I'm Jay, and if you're looking to buy a knife and you need to see what it's like first before you drop your hard-earned money on it, here's what you got to do. Click on subscribe so I can help you, and remember to click that bell notification so you don't miss a thing. Now, all of the specs that you are currently looking at are measurements that I personally took myself, so those of you interested, good spot to pause and read. This is the USA manufactured Todd Rexford designed ZT0808. And let's go ahead and quickly take care of the, how about them size comparisons? We'll start out with the Spyderco PM2 and Kershaw Skyline. We'll do another Spyderco Delica 4, the Warncliffe version. And how about, we got to toss the Benchmade Bug Out in there, which very similar in size. And how about one more, and it's going to be another ZT, the 0450. Starting with that blade, you're looking at 3 1/4 inches of good old CPM S35 VN steel, so great stuff. The blade, it is in fact flat ground with a modified sheep's foot, and it features, it's a satin on the grinds, and then the flats have been stone washed. Now, the blade profile width at the widest point is going to be 0.95 inches, and that's going to be a stock thickness of 4 millimeters, which I absolutely love about this knife. The sharpening choil is very well executed, and now this blade, it is riding on the KVT ball bearing system with, as you can see, flipper deployment. Now that flipper happens to be the only area on the entire knife that does feature any kind of jimping. The action is just, it's great. I mean, it really is. And that's going to be, well, because of that KVT ball bearing system and the detent, which is very strong. Yeah, no way you're going to be able to shake that blade loose. Now, once opened, it looks like the frame, it's locking up, to me anyway, very early at about 10 to 15%. Now, this blade will drop shut, but it does require just a little bit of shake and bake. Once it gets broken in, I'm sure that it will just fall on its own, especially because of how thick that blade stock is. Now, you can do, so those of you that enjoy that thumbnail closure, you let the flipper tab hit your nail and then boop, shaker closed. You are able to do that here with no problems. The centering, that is just about perfect. Well done, ZT. This does feature a lock bar insert and an over travel stop. Moving on down now to the handle scales. This is a 4.3 inches in length of these very thick slabs of titanium, and they are, if you guys can see that okay, they are stone washed, which is always nice to see because that's going to help to hide some of that wear and tear. Now, I can fit all 4 fingers of my medium-sized hand, no problem, and all of the edges on the handle scales have either been, chamfered or rounded, which makes for a very, very comfortable grip. Now, of course, there's not going to be much traction here because of these titanium scales, but to be honest with you, it really does not feel like that this is going to slip out of my hands. You know, that flipper tab really does help to prevent your hand from like sliding forward onto that blade, so I would not worry about that at all. The pocket clip. Now, this is not the clip that comes on the 0808. It is going to be one of these deals. Yeah, it's the same clip that you'll see on like the Kershaw length dividend. And so using the stock clip, you can see that, well, for me anyway, that is going to just leave a ton of handle sticking out of the pocket. So I did have to go ahead and just take that off like immediately. The clip is going to be just tip up only. However, righties, hey, look at that. Lefties, we do get lefty love today. Thank you very much. This does ride very nice in the pocket. And part of that is because of the closed width, which is a respectable 1.19 inches across, so at the widest point. And the handle thickness, it is exactly at a ½ inch, so yes, 0.50. The ZT0808 is super easy to disassemble. I mean, it's just the two body screws that you see, and the pivot screw is in fact captured at the one end, so you're not going to need like two Torx number 8s to adjust this pivot. On top of that, you are able to completely disassemble this without having to remove the pocket clip. I always like to see that. Thank you. Now, I want to go ahead and quickly grab the scale so we can see how much this is going to weigh you down. Before I go ahead and toss this up on the scale, I just want to go ahead and show you that it is, in fact, I guess you could go ahead and consider that partially closed or partially open construction because of that titanium back spacer. Now, if we look inside, there is no efforts to reduce the weight with any kind of milling. Let's see how that affects. Not bad. 4.4 ounces, which is going to be roughly the equivalent. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 AA batteries or 1 mass drop ferrum forge crux. Now, before we get into the potential deal breakers, I just want to quickly remind you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. Potential deal breaker number 1. Now, this may affect more left-handed people than righties, but regarding deployment and the lock bar pressure, lefties tend to place their thumb on the lock bar during deployment, and unfortunately the ZT0808 is unable to tolerate any pressure. So you can see I'm pressing, actually not even very hard, and I'm unable to deploy the blade. So that kind of stinks for us lefties. Next one is going to be regarding the pivot, which out of the box, it would, after about, I don't know, 10 deployments, it would start to, the pivot screw would loosen and the blade would then fall off center. Not a huge deal, but since I do not like to use Loctite on my blade pivots, I just took a little bit of that white Teflon tape or plumber's tape, whichever you want to call it, wrapped it around the pivot screw a couple times, and it's been good to go. Yeah, it has not loosened since. Next potential deal breaker is going to be regarding the weight. Now, while I do not personally consider 4.4 ounces to be too heavy, considering that this features a blade of 3¼ inches long, some of you may consider it just a little too much weight, a little on the heavy side for this size of a knife. Next potential deal breaker really is very, very minor, but it's actually one this kind of bothers me. And now, when I was hunting for this knife and all of the pictures I saw, all of the videos that I watched, I honestly thought that the blade profile width, that it would be wider. What I pictured was it to have a blade very similar to the Tangram Santa Fe, and in fact, as you can see, it does not. Now, I have previously reviewed the Santa Fe, and at the end of this video, if you go ahead and look up to the corner, click there on the icon, you'll be able to watch my full review of this knife. Next potential deal breaker is going to be regarding the pocket clip. Now, since the knife arrives with this clip attached, you know, those of you that like a deeper writing knife in your pocket, this clip is not going to work for you. So, on top of the already fairly expensive price of this knife, I mean, add on top of that, like let's say if you go to like MXG Gear to buy, you know, you're looking at what, $25 to $29 for an aftermarket clip. Add that onto the price, and that's a lot of money. Last potential deal breaker, well, is going to be that price. $200 is what you can find these currently selling for. Both of these knives feature very, very similar materials with, you know, the titanium, the blade steel. I mean, both of them are CPM S35VN. However, the crux you can purchase, well, you were able to purchase it on Massdrop for $125 is what I paid for this new, for almost the exact same materials. So, $200, that I realized that is quite substantial amount for this. While that is, I mean, a lot of money, I really do. I love this thing. I really do. It's very, very comfortable, and it has decent weight. And for a 4mm thick blade, this thing is a slicing machine, even with that thick blade. So, especially if you're able to find this secondhand, oh my gosh, jump on it. Seriously, because these are becoming harder and harder to find. Now, I did notice you can pick this up at Cutlery Shop for $200. I will go ahead and include the link. I purchased this on Amazon, but since then, you know, they have sold out of them. So maybe you'll be able to find one.